You're watching another True Villain commentary.
Alright everybody, it's True Villain, welcome back. Blame Truth dropped a video talking about Burnout, low interest in COD, low interest in Battlefield, weird stuff happening around his channel, and just the overall feeling that this whole arcade shooter space is in a terrible spot right now. And real talk, on the biggest point, I think he's right. The energy around Call of Duty is awful right now. You can feel it everywhere. You can feel it in the player mood. You can feel it in the views around COD content. You can feel it in how people talk about the next game. And you can definitely feel it in the results. Because this is not just people being dramatic online. GameSpot reported that Black Ops 7 had Call of Duty's worst year-end sales ranking in the US since 2008. That is not a normal, the internet is overreacting type of moment. That is a real warning sign for the franchise. GameSpot.com. And the public PC side does not help either. SteamDB has shown weak live player counts for the main Call of Duty app compared to what you'd expect from a franchise this big. Now, Steam is not the whole COD ecosystem because you still got PlayStation, Xbox, Battle.net, and Game Pass PC in the mix. So I'm not going to fake like Steam alone tells the whole story. But it is still a public signal and it's not a strong one. SteamDB.info. So when Blame Truth says the vibe is apathy and people are checked out, I agree with that. Where I start splitting off from him is why I think that happened. Because one thing he leans into pretty hard is the idea that the hype is dead. Partly because Activision went after leakers, there is less rumor talk, less discourse, less stuff floating around to keep people interested. And in a way, I get what he means. The leak cycle absolutely helps keep the COD content machine moving. That part is real. And yes, Activision did crack down on leakers. That part is not speculation anymore. GameSpot covered that the Ghost of Hope said Activision legally demanded that they stop leaking confidential Call of Duty information. So yes, Activision has absolutely been tightening up there. GameSpot.com. But I do not think that's the main reason the space feels dead. I think that gives Activision an easy excuse. To me, the real reason Call of Duty feels exhausted is way more obvious than that. The matchmaking feels terrible. The map design has been awful way too often. And the franchise has had no clear direction for years. That's the issue. I love Call of Duty. I really do. That's why this stuff annoys me so much. But if you keep giving people SBMM that makes every public match feel like a tournament, maps that are cluttered or badly flowed, and games that all kind of blur together because the direction keeps shifting, then of course people are going to burn out. That is not because leakers disappeared. That is because the games themselves are wearing people down. That's the part I wish more creators would hammer harder. Because if tomorrow every major leaker came back and started dumping information non-stop, would that create more videos? Yeah, obviously. Would it create more temporary noise? Sure. But would it actually fix why so many players feel tired of COD? No. Not even close. If the public matches still feel rigged and sweaty, if the maps still feel frustrating, if the franchise still feels like it's just bouncing from one confused identity to another, then all the leaks in the world are not solving that. And that's why I think Blame Truth is right about the symptom, but not fully right about the cause. Another place where I think it's important to slow down is the bigger speculation around Activision. Because in the video, once he gets into the weird channel stuff, the strange calls, the texts, the security concerns, and then starts connecting that to how petty Activision can be, that's where I think people need to separate things carefully. If he says he got weird calls, weird texts, weird login warnings, and felt like his channel security was at risk, I'm not debating that. That is his personal experience. I cannot verify it from the outside, and I'm not going to pretend I can. Same thing with the burnout. If he says he was cooked mentally from covering this space, that sounded genuine to me. But once it shifts into things like, could Activision be behind fake burners, fake leakers, or coordinated narrative stuff, that's where I think the line has to be drawn. Is it possible? Maybe. Is Activision petty enough to care about controlling the conversation? Absolutely. Do they go after leaks legally? Yes. But that does not mean every darker theory should suddenly get treated like fact. And I think that matters, because once creators start mixing solid facts with speculation too loosely, people stop knowing what is real and what is just frustration talking. For example, the 36 million to 18 million player drop he talks about, I've seen that number too. And secondary reporting like GamesHub pointed to Video Game Insights saying Call of Duty daily active usage across platforms fell sharply year over year. That lines up with the broad trend that player interest dropped, but I still would not talk about that number like it came directly from Activision in some investor presentation. I think it is fair to use it as a signal, not fair to talk about it like holy scripture. Gameshub.com. So for me, the cleanest way to say it is this. Blame Truth is right that COD feels dead. He's right that creators are feeling it. He's right that the audience energy is low. He's right that Activision went after leakers. But I don't think the leak crackdown is the heart of the problem. And I definitely don't think people should casually turn speculation about Activision into hard fact without better proof. Because the actual truth is already bad enough without reaching. Call of Duty has pushed way too hard in the wrong direction for years now. The matchmaking system has made regular multiplayer feel miserable for a lot of people. The map design has repeatedly failed to give players that clean, readable, fun flow that the older games had. And the series itself has felt confused, like it keeps reacting instead of leading. That is what I think burned people out. Not just one bad launch, not just one low sales game, not just one dead season. A long stretch of choices that made the game less fun, less clear, and less exciting than it should be. And if we're being honest, that's probably why Blame Truth's video hit as hard as it did. Not because every single theory in it was airtight, but because the emotional core of it felt true. A long-time creator looked at the current COD space and basically said, I don't care right now, and I don't think a lot of other people do either. That lands harder than some random anti-COD tweet ever could, because that feeling is coming from inside the community. So yeah, I'm with him on the bigger picture. COD is in a bad spot. The burnout is real. The apathy is real. The audience trust is weak. I'm just not willing to act like the main issue is the rumor economy slowing down. The main issue is still the game. Fix the matchmaking, fix the map design. Give the franchise a real direction again. Make a COD that actually feels fun without turning every public lobby into a full-time stress test. That's how you get people to care again. If you watched his video and had the same reaction, Or if you think I'm being too hard on the franchise, drop it in the comments. And if you're new around here, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And see you guys in the next video.